Factoring trinomials can be difficult. I get it. But one thing I see all the time, once students get a little bit of semblance of understanding what they're supposed to do, they encounter a problem that looks a little bit different than what they were practicing on. Maybe it could be from their notes or what their teacher went over, and they completely freeze up. They forget everything that they're supposed to know about how to factor and what there is supposed to do. So I don't want that to happen to you. That's why in this video, I'm going to go over 3 different examples and talk you through exactly how I'm going to approach them. So therefore you don't get confused just because they look a little bit different than maybe what you're going on over in class. So let's get started with these 3 examples and break down the process. Now, one thing when student looks at a problem like this, they immediately see the big number, 60. Crap, I don't want to start factoring with 60. That's way too big of a number. And then they see the 5. And if they're familiar with the AC method, they immediately start thinking, oh crap, 5 times 60, that's going to be 300, right? The AC method. It's like, oh God, this is going to be huge. Like negative 300 and then negative 5. What are the factors to give me negative 305? It's like, I'm just going to skip this problem, right? I'll come back to it later. But ladies and gentlemen, the first thing we should always be looking to doing in math, it's kind of like the golden rule of math, is always look to simplify first. And the first thing we ever learned about factoring was factoring out the GCF. We did this before we got into factoring trinomials, and by was factor out that GCF. And the cool thing that I notice is 5 is divides into 5x squared, 5 divides into a negative 5x, and 5 evenly divides into negative 60. So when I factor out a 5, what I'm going to be left with is a x squared minus x minus a 12. Okay, now I know 12 has decent amount of factors, right? And so it's a little, still we got to put on our thinking cap here, but negative 12 is a lot easier to identify our factors than trying to do the AC method up here, right? We don't want to do the AC method. That's going to be way too much for us. So what I want to do here now, again, I always want to check my work. Like, can I multiply the 5 back in? 5 times x, 5x squared, 5 times negative x. Okay, so 5 times negative 12, negative 60. All right, we're good to go. Now, again, just remember with this factoring, all we want to do is identify the factors of negative 12. So one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative, that are going to add to a negative 1, because that's the coefficient of that middle term. And again, the factors of 12, right? We have 12 and 1, 6 and 2, 4 and 3. Notice the difference between 4 and 3 is 1. I just need to make sure it's negative. So therefore it's going to be a negative 4, positive 3. So therefore I get a 5 times a x minus 4 times a x plus 3. And there you go. That's all we got to do. Just make sure that you guys simplify first. It's a key rule to doing any kind of math. We don't want to go down the long route of spending our time, wasting our time doing too much. All right, this next example. I love this one because all it is a quadratic trinomial. It's just the terms are rearranged, and you're going to come across math problems, guys, where not everything is like perfectly exactly the way that you want them. Okay. And that's perfectly fine. So what we want to do is, well, I don't want to factor it like this. You could, but I'm just like you. I don't want to look at it like this. I'm used to it as x squared, minus x, plus 16, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and rearrange this. So all I'm simply going to do is negative x squared minus 6x plus 16. Okay, that's a little bit better. But there's one more thing I don't like. I don't like factoring when I have coefficients, right? I didn't like it in the last example. I don't want to do the AC method. I don't like, you can do things in your head. I just don't want to do it. It's too much. So what I'm going to do is factor out that negative. So I'm going to factor out the negative. That's going to leave me with an x squared plus a 6x minus a 16. Now, again, I know 16, decent number, has some decent amount of factors, but again, I can think of these factors in my head: 16 and 1, 8 and 2, 8 and 2, 8 and 2, and 4 and 4, right? But again, since my last term is negative, I'm looking for the difference of the 2 factors that are going to give me a 6. Well, obviously it's not 4 and 4, right? Those have a difference of 0. It can't be 16 and 1. Those have a difference of 5. So it's 8 and 2, right? Those have a difference of 6. Now, again, I need it to be a positive 6. So therefore, I'm needing my larger factor, 8, to be positive. So therefore, the factored form of this is going to be an x plus 8 times a x minus 2. And there you go. You can check it all out. There we go. I couldn't scroll. The last example, and oh man, this is a great one. It's a great problem to go and throw on a test or a quiz. And because a lot of students, we all know, once you look at this problem and you see the fractions, a lot of students are going to immediately give up. They're like, I don't know how to do this problem. Okay. Now, some students might know exactly what to do. They're like, I need to factor out a 1/4, but then they have no idea how to do it. right? And I get it. This is a little bit more confusing than some of the other examples of factoring out numbers or a negative number. But ladies and gentlemen, if we can just break things down step by step, I think we can feel comfortable doing it. And then I'll also give you a tip at the end here that you can use where we can actually get rid of the fractions and get the exact same answer. It's pretty cool. So let's go through the process of like, all right, well, let's factor out a 1/4, because what I want you to see here is I have a 1/4 here and a 4 here in the denominator. This doesn't have a denominator, but here's the cool thing that I could do. Could you rewrite 2 with a denominator 4? If I want to factor out this 4 from the denominator, right? Because that's what I want to get rid of. Can I rewrite 2 as 1/4? Well, you can rewrite 1 is equal to a 4 over 4. So therefore a 2 is equal to 8 over 4. Wouldn't you agree with that, right? 2 is equal to 8 over 4. Then at least it has a 4 in the denominator. Then I think it's going to be a little bit easier for me to be able to see how dividing out or factoring out that 1/4 is going to work. I forgot to even write it in there. I'm like talking about it, but I didn't even write it in there. So let's go ahead and put in a 8 over 4. There you go. Now when I factor out my 1/4, right? 1's in the numerator, factoring that out. So that's not really doing anything. That's just going to leave me with an 8x squared minus 8x plus a 15. Okay. Now, can I go ahead and factor this? Yes, I can. But let's pretend that you didn't understand this. Let's say you still understood like factoring out, which is basically like dividing. How do you divide a 1/4 from 2? Well, again, multiply by the reciprocal, right? Multiply by the reciprocal. And guys, what you can see here is that's just going to leave you with an 8, or if it's a -2, that's a -8, right? So you could factoring out is like dividing out that 1/4, okay? So now I need to look at my factors of 15, which again is going to be 15 and 1, 3 and 5. And again, since my last term is positive, I need to get a sum that's going to give me my middle term. Well, obviously 15 and 1 give me 16. 5 and 3, though, are going to give me 8. Since it's a -8, though, both of those factors have to be negative. So it's an x minus 3 times an x minus 5. Now, you want to see this extra tip? Okay, so here's a cool thing. Rather than factoring out a 1/4, another thing that you could do is you could multiply everything times a 4 and also multiply it by 1/4. Okay, now hear me out here. If you multiply everything times a 4, well, first of all, I have to multiply everything by 4 and times 1/4, right? Because when you're factoring, you can't just like you can't distribute a number to everything, because then that's going to change the factored expression. Okay, you can do that with quadratic equations. So what I'm doing is I'm multiplying by 4 times 1/4. Why am I picking 4 times 1/4? Well, 4 times 1/4 is just 1. So you can see how it's not changing the address of it's not changing the value of this expression. Okay, so as long as I multiply 4 and it's reciprocal, I'm keeping everything preserved. The cool thing is though, when I multiply by 4, that is now just going to leave me with exactly what we were looking for. X squared minus a 8x plus 15. Just remember though, I still have to multiply it by that 1/4, right? And again, we can see that from that factored out form. So I prefer to understand the fact, like factoring out the fractions. A lot of students don't like that. So that's fine. Find the common denominator of your fractions and then multiply it by its reciprocal to produce that factored form. And that's a great way you can get around it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be afraid of when you see a problem that's a little bit different. But if you want to see some more practice, as well as really get a good foundation of factoring trinomials, then check out the next video I have for here or the resources I have for you down below. Cheers.